Good morning out there, YouTube. I am the Anonymous Prepper. Welcome back to the channel, and it's been a while since I've done a video like this, since my old channel actually. So, as you can see here, I have a bunch of items laid out. Decent little variety here. Now, I was watching some videos this morning that caught my attention to something. You know, there was a lady in the comment section who was just very upset. She's like, well, I can't afford to really do anything. You know, I'm on a very tight budget. And I'm not one of these preppers where I started off being able to buy all of this stuff. I had to start from scratch myself. Like, I had to buy, you know, for instance, a backpack. And then I had to add to it and get this and get this. And it took a little bit of time at the beginning. And then I advanced and got more stuff. But on a budget. And I wanted to make a video today to cover how to make a cheap bug out bag. You know, the most standard go bag you can go with, which is, you know, all of your basic stuff you gotta have. So this is a budget go bag. You know, from different places I've shopped, places I've looked around, found, you know, discounts, Temu, Amazon, Dollar Tree, Dollar Store. Like, I've been all over and I got the cheapest items I could get. Just, you know, start off with a simple basic bug out bag. And there is a couple of items in here too, but these are items, once you buy them, you know, you keep them forever. But a lot of this stuff is pretty cheap. But this is mostly, you know, building a bag for around like $100. But say, give or take, say, 75 to 150. Now, first and foremost is this bag here. Now, this one here, you have a couple of pouches, of course. You know, it's a standard size book bag. And you can go on Walmart too, their website, or go in store. I'm sure you can find another bag for probably around like $5 to $10. This one I got off of Temu. It was only $4 because there was a discount they were running, so I got it for fairly cheap. But say roughly, to be fair, because, you know, this is, you know, a budget thing, I go up to 10 on this. Because that's about what you pay for a book bag, is about $10. Just for a standard, basic, no designs, no Hello Kitty on it, you get my drift. Standard, simple, basic, $10. Then you need to have a container to carry water. Now, there's two options here. You can go with the bigger model, but the only thing about this I don't like, it doesn't have a metal bowl that attaches to the canteen. This one does. Now, depending on your circumstances, you have to make a choice here. Do you want more water for a short-term event, or do you want something long-term? Which, in my opinion, I would go with the long term, because you can boil water if you have to get it from a source this way. With, of course, you know, make sure you have a life straw as well. And this canteen has not just the metal bowl. I also put inside a K-bar spork. I got that off of Amazon. It was about $6. It has, you know, your spork. It has a knife in the handle. And you're good to go for that. So you have, you know, a cooking pot, a small one inside that's attached to this, drinking container for your water to store it, and, you know, that covers some of that stuff. Now, something else I did forget to add was a life straw. Now, they have cheaper models, which is what I'm going to here, because I do have a few stored away. They're about like $8. So, add one of those with this. So that's like around, let me see, $10. The canteen kit's around $11. The spork is $6, $7. Life straw, cheap one, say about like $35. Because if you shop around, there are times you can find deals too, and you might get it for a little bit less than what I'm paying here. It depends though. You have to search. That's the biggest key right now, is search and look. Don't rush. You know, find stuff, you know, you can use. The next item, of course, this one right here. Just a cheap, basic pair of fingerless gloves, just something to give you some protection for your hands. They do have ones as well that are full-fingered. It just depends on what you're looking for. These were only 38 cents. So, you know, very, very cheap. You know, get a pair of those, throw in there as well. Next item is, we all know these, the emergency thermal blankets. Now, if you could find them cheap enough, like on Temu, like I did, I got a 20-pack of these for $5. So they were only like around 30 to 40 cents. if you take the time to look, you can get them for pretty cheap. You just have to really, you know, do your research and look around. Then you need, of course, a bivvy, emergency bivvy. And if you check around, there are times you can find an actual full bivvy shelter. You know, it just depends on where you look. This was only about $3 on Temu. Then, of course, next items, we got... This is called Warrior Wrap. It's a type of electrical tape, and it sticks to almost anything. This was only $1. I got that off of Amazon. Some glue. You never know if you're going to need something like this. This one's kind of an optional thing, but I prefer to have it. So, do it that way. Cordage. Now this one, I always get it off of Temu because you get the most for your buck. This was only $1. And there's times I've had discounts and I got this roll. It was only 67 cents. More of this cordage. Then, you know, this cordage. Around, like, say, I'll keep it fair, like $1 a piece. But, you know, you're not going to need all of that. I would take, you know, this, a bigger one, and then, like, this spool here and put in this kit. Now, 2 expensive items. Now, these are the most expensive. Unless, of course... like this radio on Amazon. I got this 5 years ago. But if you check, because I do keep up to date on products on the regular, this radio, I've seen it pop up for like $8 before. If you can find it on sale, that's the key. Look for those sales. But I bought it for, it was around, I think it was like $11. But the benefit of this is not just a radio. It is also a flashlight. And a power bank. The solar on there, I mean, if you had no form of power and all you let it sit out in the sun, it will make a bit of a difference to get some power for this, but it also has the crank. It's a very multi-versatile item. That's why this one is a must-to-have. Now here is the biggest one. Your first aid. Now, I have a few items I also usually put in this first aid kit, but this is my backup first aid, not my primary. But it has a lot of the same stuff, you know, your allergy medicines, anti-nausea, diarrhea. But also you want to keep in here, like one item I do have in here, I think still. Yes. Like these guys. Disposable scalpels. Now, people may think, well, why do you need that if you got a knife? If you have to do a precision cut on something like, say, you know, a hematoma, and you have to drain it, or, you know, you have an infected abscess, you know, stuff like that, and you have to cut it, right? It's better just to use the disposable scalpels. And they're only like $1 on Temu. And they even have ones for like $1.50 that you can use that have extra blades with it. So it comes in handy. Then also wanted to add to this kit, I've mentioned this 100 times before, is glass anemometer filling. It's a dental cement. It's a good quality dental cement. And speaking of that, because that's what got my attention here, this is the stuff you could buy in a grocery store. All this does is, it's like chewing gum. You put it on your tooth, it'll cover it up, it'll buy you maybe 2 days. Now, the glass anemometer is a little different. It's an actual medical grade dental filling. So when you put that in your filling that fell out, for where the cavity is, it's permanent. Now, it's not going to last forever. You'll get about a month out of it usually, maybe a little bit longer. It depends on how you take care of it and where it is located. But it will help a lot. And, you know, it's just one of those things where if you have dental issues or if you have, you know, crowns, bridges, you need to fix them, and, you know, you can't get to a dentist at that time, that's the best way to go. And then, of course, you know, yes, trauma pads, all this stuff, Band-Aids, you know, all of your basics, burn cream, burn gel, antibiotic, you know, your medical scissors, some gauze, and stuff like that. And there was something else I wanted to add to this as well. Trifold bandage. On Temu, they're only like 50 cents. Now, this actual first aid kit, the pouch and everything, it's on Amazon, goes for around $12. You get 299 pieces. It covers all of your, you get the scissors, the gauze, all of the medications, alcohol wipes, Band-Aids, some trauma pads. I forget what else all comes with it. If you go on Amazon and look it up, it'll come right up. I need coffee this morning. But it covers a lot of your bases for a standard emergency medical kit. And me, I like to add a few things to it to make it better. And, you know, on a budget, this is the best way to go, because if you have to bug out for a few days, if there's a bad emergency, hurricane, storms, or worse, this is a good way to go. Now, I got so much stuff here. As you can see, get this out of the way for a second. The bandanas. Always should have a bandana in your kit. And what I like about this one, it comes with a face mask too. One of those ones that go around your neck and the lower half of your face. It definitely comes in handy to have a couple of those too. And those are only 50 cents a piece. And don't mind my cat, he's a little brat this morning. But here we have, now this was a cool find. I found this because of a popular prepper. He had posted about this on Amazon. It's just a standard Coleman hatchet. $7 for this. And it's nothing fancy, but I have tested it and it does work. That's what counts. Does it work? Great little item to have, because, you know, when you're out, you got to have a cutting tool. This one is a must. Now, not getting to the food here yet, but back over to here. Now, here's an important one for us, especially somebody like me, glasses. Anytime I've went and bought eyeglasses, they gave you options to get, you know, your anti-glare coatings, your transitional coatings, or just a cheap basic pair. And that's what these are. All they are is just a prescription covered lens, cheap, but they're like 20 bucks. If you have eye issues, or if you wear contacts, keep this in your bags. If you have 2 bug-out bags, get 2 pairs of these, have one in each bag. You know, have backups. Very, very important. Now, this little trinket here, I can get it all in my hand, because I have limited space to work with here, but this one here, we have, you know, a small multi-tool. It was about $1 on Temu. Wasn't bad. It definitely does what it needs to do. Ferro rod. Getting to the fire starting. This was only $1 on Temu as well. And then, of course, I mean, this one's, you know, if you need to get something to the right size, cheap little tape measure. This was only 20 cents on Temu. Now, fire starting, you got, you know, the ferro rod. You got to have one of those. Then, of course, you want to have, and don't hate me for having a Bic. I don't have a Bic handy right now. Just, you know, a cheap lighter. This is a cheap kit, you got to remember. Couple of expensive items, but a cheap kit. Now, getting back to Temu. Now, this item here is a clone knife of the Gerber Strong Arm. But why I like it is it has a compass. It's not a fancy one, but it's good to have it. Not that I'm worried about the compass exclusively, though. You want to have the extra ferro rod, and it straps onto your pack if need be. It's a great knife. Even though it's a clone, I have tested it. It does work. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it a 7.5. It does what it needs to do. For, you know, a cheap bag, this was only $2 on Temu. If you can find discount codes on there, I've told you guys about it before, use them and get this stuff. Because, you know, you're going to pay about 20 bucks for a kit like that, for this kind of knife. Or, if you can't do Temu, there is other options. Ozark Trail. Now, this knife here has been very popular over Christmas. It's only $5. Fixed blade, nothing fancy. Does the job for $5. I mean, you can't beat it now. Out of these two, you know, you pick one that you're going to take in your bag. But you also got to have pocket knife. This is the D2 Steel Ozark Trail with, of course, the lock. Y'all guys know what this is. This here, and I dyed the scale, so it's a custom. But Nothing fancy, simple little knife. But you got to have something for skinning, cleaning game if you need it, stuff like that. Then, of course, there's this one, too. This one's the $5 Ozark Trail folder. The one that was very, very popular over Christmas. And it'll do what it needs to if you need to prep some food, skin some game, fish, whatever. It will do the job. So you want to have your big boy, of course, with your hatchet. And then, of course, you want to have a small pocket knife. I've used both of these. They work great. I would take this one, though, over it just because it has the full tang with the liners and everything, so it lasts longer. Definitely does the job. Now, next, even though this here has a light built into it, I want to have a secondary light. And I've preached about this many, many times because of this feature. The Nikon N70. You can see it's got a pretty bright light. I can't remember the lumens. I think it's like 700 or... it's going to drive me crazy. If you type in Nikon N70, it'll give you the specs. But this is one of those great small compact lights to have. And it really comes in handy. Now, if you have to go really cheap, of course, there is option B. Simple little pen light. These are about $1. But this is one item, though, for your kit. You got to get a decent flashlight. They go about $14-15. Definitely not bad. Now, another light. These two right here. We have two different kinds of headlamps. Both of these are from Walmart. This one's around $1.50. Now, it used to be $1. But you don't get, I don't think this takes batteries, so I can't remember. Oh, wait, no, I think it does. Yeah, but personally, I'd go with this one. It's $2.25. Plus, it has batteries with it. It's a great headlamp. It is a must-have item. Definitely. Now, when you're out in the field, you got to remember, too, if you're working with your hands, you got to have both of your hands free. That's why these guys are great to have. Now, the next item, this one, you can go either way. You can go with, some tissue paper, toilet paper, or you can go with those little packs of portable tissues. It depends on your preference, but I like these because they weigh practically nothing. Compressed towels, and you see how many you get in one of these bags. This was only $1.50 on Temu, and you get, I think there's 50 in here, I'm pretty sure. But they get pretty good size, about the size of like 3 paper towels opened up. So it's not bad. Definitely not bad. Now, you could also go with, if you want to use like what do they call it? Like a terry cloth towel. If you want something softer to reuse. Me personally, I prefer just getting that stuff and then I can throw that in the fire and burn it up. And that's the end of it with it. It just depends on your preference. Now, the next item, let's see, what haven't I covered here? Hygiene, yes. Now this one, I've always gotten laughed at about by my freaking girlfriend about this one, but I don't take a chance because, you never know. Now, for the Hygiene, we all know what this is. Guys, don't be bashful. I have no shame about it. We know what these are. I always keep a couple of tampons in my Hygiene kit. Not just because of, if your girlfriend happens to forget to bring some, but if you're on the go by yourself and say you get hurt. Now, getting to this, this actually saved me in a pinch before, and it's not very graphic, but I'll show you. That mark on my leg had a piece of steel inside of it, and it was pretty nasty. And I had to take a tampon because I had access to no bandages because I was on the go. I took the tampon, opened it up, and I pressed it and taped it. It stopped the bleeding. Thankfully, I didn't have to go to the hospital because the wound was open enough, but I was able to take care of it. Didn't really need the medical treatment, save myself some money on medical bills, of course, too. But it did work. Never hurts to have a couple of those in your kit. You get a deep injury, shove that in there, it's going to stop the bleeding. It will work. I learned from experience. The hygiene kit as well, you want to have, a razor, your toothbrushes, a bar of soap, optional shaving cream if you want, but you want to have a bar of soap, toothpaste. That stuff, definitely. Now, I know I've been ranting here for 20 minutes now, which I'm quite surprised, but overall, these are a lot of the basics you need to build a cheap bag. And you can improvise and take stuff out, put stuff in, depending on what you want. Now, the last items, I think I did cover everything else here. Oh, wait, no, I missed one. Goes with the flashlights. Now, this one here was a Temu flashlight here. And you can see it's pretty bright. And it also has a beam option. This was only 79 cents on Temu. And I have like 5 of these. And, if you have to go cheaper, like, if you can't afford the Nikron, you can go with this as well. It'll hold you over for a few days. Plus, this one I know is rechargeable too. I just prefer the Nikron because I can strap it to my jacket and it'll get me around to where I need to go without having to hold it. Now, the last items. This one is your food. And before I get a comment in the comments, common sense says when you have a go bag, you're going to have your clothes packed in there, which is 3 pairs of underwear, 5 pairs of socks, a couple of shirts, and a couple pairs of pants, and at least a pair of shorts. Cover your bases with clothes how you want to do it. What you wear, have something warm, have something that's going to keep you cool, etc., etc. Now, travel food. I love these because they're super thin, they are super light. You always want to carry about like 3 of these in your pack. You want enough for 3 lunches. Same goes with tuna. If you're on the move on foot, you got to have protein. So I go with 3 of these as well. And then, you improvise. You think about what else do I like to eat. Like I love these too, like this roasted chicken rice. If I want some carbs, that's the way to go. Now this one here was only $1. But this is a pound of pancake mix. And that will easily make enough food for 5-6 days. Maybe even a little bit longer if you want to ration it. I always carry a bag of this in my kits. Just because you could use it for a variety of things. You can make just your standard pancakes, or you can mix it with something. You can make dumplings if you want. There's ways you can use this. You'd be very surprised. Always recommend to carry that. You want to have at least 3 days worth of food in a basic emergency bug out bag to cover your bases and go from there. And I don't think there's anything else right now to cover on this. This is just a simple, basic, cheap bug out bag for around like 75 to 150 bucks. It depends on where you find stuff, of course. Oh yeah, this is before I forget, that's a toothpick right here. Just a brass toothpick. Never hurts to have one. Always keep it handy, but yeah. This is a standard basic kit. And people say, "Oh, you forgot this and you forgot that." Like, no, you got to have your clothes too. I made a note in there and said so. You got to have your clothes. These are just the bare bones of what you should take with you. You got to have your hygiene. You got to have lighting. You got to have cutting tools. Cover your eyes if you have the need for glasses. Ways to make a shoulder. Oh yeah, and like these, you want to carry like 2 or 3 of these. These weigh nothing. You can easily make a shoulder with that too. Your cordage, emergency radio, and your power bank, and you can crank it so you can generate power that way. Face mask, bandana, the big one, the medical kit, a hatchet so you can chop and split wood if you need to. Food. And of course, oh yeah, one other thing to add to this is if you have access to those drink packs, the ones that that are only around like $1.25, it's lemonade, strawberry, you know what I'm talking about. Throw up a box of those in there too, so you have something to flavor your water. Now, getting to water, in case you didn't realize, whatever canteen you take, make sure you fill it up before you leave. But now, if you have a car too, grab a couple of 2 liters of soda bottles and fill them up with water and keep them in your car. That way you have drinking water to go. Always find a way to bring extra water. You want to bring at least a gallon, or if you have a vehicle, like how I have mine set up, I carry a week's worth of water in my car. I have 2 water canteens that are full, and I do it that way. But I gotta wrap this video up. I can't believe I've been doing this for 25 minutes, but I am the Anonymous Prepper. Until next time, folks.